Welcome to the NormalCast, everybody, a movie talk podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Adam.
Snap for us, Adam. Wow, I was hoping you'd choke, and he was just bragging about how well he can snap. Anyway, welcome. We're going to talk about movie news that's happened and things we've seen recently, and we're just going to jump right into it. In advance, if you notice it's maybe a little echoey or something, we're just recording somewhere kind of weird and different.
Trying out a new location.
Sure, that's what we say. Life goes on. Lots of trailers came out, and by lots, I mean 3 that I cared about, so we're going to talk about them. First, you just watched the Zombieland Double Tap trailer. Didn't want to call it Zombieland 2.
Is it not?
The 2 was in the logo, but the official title is Zombieland Double Tap, because apparently people are more likely to see it if you don't put a number in it.
Really?
Yeah, that's a new kind of study they're doing. If you just do like a name then a new like subtitle, they feel like they don't have to see the first one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Personally, I miss when we just be like
Spider-Man 1.
T2, like Spider-Man 2. Like I miss just when you could just say the type, but whatever, it works. That's the point. Is we're talking about the trailer. What did you think about it?
I think it looks real fun.
Me too. I really liked the first Zombieland, but I forget. I was in high school, maybe middle school when I saw it. I can't quite remember.
I think I was in middle school.
Okay, it was probably around there. I remember it was like, because it's a pretty hard R if I remember language-wise and all that.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was like, me being like, oh, I haven't seen a ton of these before. But this looks like more of the same in a good way. Like it's expanding. Now they're going from like they just formed a family to now trying to keep the family together. They're going to more silly locations, throwing in some new cast here and there. Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
I'm super on board for it. I like them in the White House, just like goofing around, because why wouldn't you, in the zombie apocalypse, go to the White House? But yeah, I don't know.
They need to get another like old actor like they had Bill Murray.
That was the Bill Murray cameo was something beautiful. Like,
don't just redo it though. Make it fresh, but like I want the same.
I love another cameo like that, but don't. Because that cameo was perfect. That's like the perfect of cameos right there.
It's so good.
But besides that, I'm definitely excited for this. I never would have guessed, because it's been like 10 years plus since this movie.
It didn't occur to me that you could make a sequel, but I think it'll
why
end
not?
up being...
It's a fun zombie-filled, like over-the-top, goofy world where they're like, going to amusement parks and using monster trucks and cropped, like, what do you call those? The harvesters that just chop up the zombies. I'm excited to see what they do. What did you think about the trailer that came out for Scorsese's The Irishman?
The trailer's not super exciting.
No, the trailer's pretty nothing, but it's cool that it's happening.
Yeah, everybody involved is exciting.
It's Netflix, which is a big thing that like Scorsese is making a direct-to-Netflix film.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Also that he's got, he probably just has to ask, be like, hey, Robert, Pacino, Pesci, you want to be in a movie that I'm making? And they'll all just say yes. But it's 3 huge names in it, the huge name directing it for Netflix. Do you think this is gonna... I don't know. There was the whole thing about like Spielberg, everyone kind of pinned on him, the whole like delegitimizing kind of Netflix is making movies and all that. And this is definitely having something like this really legitimize it. Not that I think it needs legitimizing, but you know what I mean. It's Martin Scorsese making a direct to Netflix movie.
Yeah, it's like, I think if it went to theaters, it would do well. So I wonder how much he's sacrificing on making it a Netflix thing.
I'm wondering how much they paid him to make it for Netflix.
It would have had like
Netflix is famous for giving out money like with reckless abandon. But I mean, it's like a kind of historical gang kind of movie. It looks like
it looks like a Scorsese movie.
Looks like a Scorsese movie, and if you got. Those are the people I want in a Scorsese gang movie, so sure, I'll watch it because it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's my thought process on it. I think, because they're probably going to do like a limited theatrical run and to get some Oscar nominations in. Do you think, I wonder if it will get nominated for anything. We'll have to wait for it to come out.
It could be awful.
It could be, that happens sometimes. It could be an absolutely terrible movie, but I'll watch it. That's my bottom line, because it's on Netflix. I will watch it. In theaters, do you think you'd go see The Irishman?
Yeah.
If it got good buzz, I would.
If it got medium to good buzz, I would see it.
You just need medium? I'd need some decent buzz. just because I feel like that's really so Scorsese's wheelhouse of like doing the thing. I'm just like, I might wait on this one, but
I'm just a big Scorsese fan,
you
so
are, you definitely are. But if it's on Netflix, I'm watching it. The last of the trailers that came out, the one that I'm most excited for of the three trailers we're talking about, is a little film called The Lighthouse.
yeah.
Is Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, pretty much like just them. The cast has like one more person, and I think it's just some hallucination lady. Like, did they see at some point? Like, because it just said the mermaid on like the IMDb list.
That's
But
exciting.
so there's only two like main actors in it. I can't wait. Like
Yeah,
really, I
and
can't wait for this film.
like the frame was like a square
Yeah, it was
basically.
the aspect ratio was like old school, like
Yeah.
perfect, like equilateral. It was black and white. I don't know if it was a filter applied later, or maybe they filmed that on old cameras, but it had that old black and white grain that like real old movies have. Like,
I would imagine they definitely filmed it on film, but probably went in afterwards and made it a little more.
I mean, that's how everyone, because there's certain people like even J.J. Abrams when he did the Star Wars movie, he shot it on film,
Yeah.
but then you just you turn that to digital and then do digital effects and then maybe turn it back into film. It's a weird, it's a process if you really love film, I guess. But the whole idea, it looks real old. I love the style of it. They both seem like they're going insane, and I'm
Yeah.
excited. Those are two actors I want to see go insane together.
Yeah.
When Willem Dafoe is like talking to Robert, he's like, "How long have we been at this lighthouse, boy? A week, a month, just like a day, just like I'm
Because
like,
like a lot of times people ask you like how long have we known each other or how long have we been here as like exposition, but he like honestly doesn't know
yeah,
how long he's
like
been there.
I love it so much. It's a super mysterious trailer that looks like it's gonna be weird, like really weird, which I'm in the mood for. So I'm just in a weird movie loving like
Yeah.
aspect of my life where I want them to go weird. Like I think this already kind of made some festival like rounds. Maybe I'm wrong in remembering that, but it just said coming soon. So I don't know when it's coming out.
This year
It better
sometime.
come out like in a theater near us because it might be one of those things. We've got an Angelica relatively
It'll
close to us.
I'm like pretty positive it'll be at Angelica.
If that Angelica got all is true with the Kenneth Branagh film I'm talking about that opened in like 60 theaters in the country, that Angelica will get
Yeah.
this because I think there's a little more hype behind this. I think it also helps, more people are Googling Robert Pattinson's name than in the last
That
10
is true.
years. And everyone just loves Willem Dafoe. So honestly, like, because I guarantee, like, budget-wise, this was real low. If a company puts a decent release into this, like, this could be, like, I'm not saying, like, it's gonna make $100 million, but I mean, like, if you make $60 million on what is a $3 million budget, like, that's insanely good.
Yeah.
Maybe Willem Dafoe will get a nice Oscar nomination out of it if it is good.
Dude, if it's like really good, I'd say best picture.
Just based on the like you want this to be
I
best
want
picture.
this to be best picture.
I'd love if this was like the best picture of the year. But yeah, anyway, I'm just not gonna. I could just gush about how excited I am from that one little sneak peek, just because it's people I love in it, and it's a cool feel to a trailer. And sometimes that's all you need. But now let's move into more mainstream types of news. Hooray! I'm talking about DC. Hooray! We love all their movies, right?
No.
No, okay. Anyway, so I've talked to you before. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the podcast that they are making a New Gods movie, which is like if you don't know, New Genesis, Apocalypse, Darkseid, High
Yeah.
Father. You get all those characters in there. It's the Jack Kirby parts. Jack Kirby made Eternals with Marvel, and he made the New Gods, and now they're both making both. It's just time because there's a lot of similarities to just the basic idea of what the Eternals and the New Gods are. Jack Kirby really likes that stuff. He just liked making big cosmic like races of wars, two opposite factions, one clearly good, one clearly evil. Like it's very interesting. But the director, her name is Ava DuVernay, which I think is a wonderful name for stuff. It's got such a meter to it.
I've heard it.
Ava DuVernay. She made, the only thing I know is the Wrinkle in Time. That movie.
Is that where I know that from?
I don't know. Is it where you knew it from?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But, even though people like weren't huge fans of that movie. That was like people say that is just a weird movie. So hey, if you're gonna make a weird New Gods movie,
Oh, she did Selma.
she produced Selma, didn't direct it. She wrote for some film called Middle of Nowhere. She's written a lot. She's got 99 miscellaneous crew credits. That's got to be fun.
She's just a mic
That's
person.
a lot to have on your IMDb miscellaneous crew. Someone just didn't want to or couldn't remember what she was one day
Oh
and put her
yeah.
down as miscellaneous crew, and everyone else, when they go on IMDb to fill in her name, just see that and they're like, oh, that's easier than thumbing through my little paper tabs here to see what she was. Anyway, so Ava DuVernay was just confirming because someone asked her, is Darkseid gonna actually be in this movie? And she said yes. Well, specifically, she said Darkseid is, which is a famous Darkseid quote, meaning kind of like he is their everything, the king, the ruler, a god. It's a comic
Oh,
quote.
like I am.
Yeah, it's kind of an I am thing, like Darkseid is. So we are gonna eventually, finally get the Darkseid we were supposed to get in the Snyder cut that doesn't exist of Justice League. Um, does that excite you?
No.
You're not excited at all?
No.
I grew up like he was really cool in the old animated series.
It's
like with,
cool when like the Justice League's fighting him. I don't want a Darkseid movie though.
but no, it's because I think what they need to do, because the New Gods have so many characters. The most interesting ones are people like Orion and Mr. Miracle. Do you know those
I
characters?
know Orion.
Mr. Miracle or Scott Free, he had a whole episode in Justice League Unlimited that was just about him, and it's one of my favorites. He was so Orion and Scott Free. Mr. Miracle, get it scot free. He's an escape artist, so he gets off scot free. Haha, puns.
I didn't get that.
But Orion and Scott Free were the children of Highfather and Darkseid, and to try to make some peace, they swapped kids.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because so Mr. Miracle essentially was grown up like being tortured, trying to be brainwashed to like serve Darkseid, and then Highfather like actually raised Orion to be a hero. So even though he's the son of Darkseid, his father's like this big evil guy. He still knows his father is evil. And then Mr. Miracle is someone who became an amazing escape artist to escape like the torture chambers he was being kept in. And then so he hates Darkseid. So Darkseid really just lost them both. It didn't work out for him. But I think there's a lot of like you talked before about how Marvel's good at humanizing like big cosmic things. If you focus on like the whole like father-son kind of situation with like characters like that, there's a lot of humanizing you can do with that.
But DC's not good at
Don't.
that.
I'm not just gonna write them off. Maybe Ava DuVernay has it all under control and is gonna do it well. I think it would be cool just to see Darkseid, because for those who don't know, he's like DC's version of Thanos. Even though that's always the thing people will be saying forever, because Thanos got in the movies first, so that's what everyone's gonna say. But I think it'll be cool to see him in live action. He can be an interesting character.
If it's good, I'll see it.
Yeah. You sound so enthusiastic, Adam. I'm surprised you didn't have like anything to say. I remember like years ago when it was you and I in high school, and you were talking about how excited you were for the fact that there would be a Justice League movie in like 4 years. Like you were the most hopeful DC movie fan.
I mean, my whole life I've been wanting a Justice League movie. And then
I
didn't like the one I got. And so I'm not going to put any stock or hopes in anything DC ever again.
You are a broken man. That's so sad. I remember because you asked me, would you rather see like, you said at the time it was like the third Avengers movie or the Justice League movie if you could only see one. And I said the third Avengers movie, and you said you're crazy.
I was a fool.
Anyway, besides the reminiscing, more about DC. Apparently, they're still making that Black Adam movie, like a solo movie for Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Black Adam that we've heard about for a long time. They cast him like way before they even like cast Shazam.
Yeah.
I assume they just do him for the sequel, but they're still saying they're going to do a Black Adam movie.
How are you going to make a Shazam 2 and not have Black Adam in it, but have him have his own movie? Are you like setting up a trilogy here?
I don't
or are you,
understand.
Like, cross them over.
Apparently, it's going to follow the evolution of him. Like he's going to start as a villain and then become an anti-hero. Because in the comics, he's kind of done that over time. I just knew him like from cartoons as a villain, so I don't know. That's like Venom. Like apparently, like for like a lot of time in the '90s, Venom was like an anti-hero in the comics, super edgy, like more grit than Spider-Man hero. But to me, it's like I like him as a villain.
Yeah, I don't know it.
But I know even less about Black Adam. It just surprises me they're still maybe going to make this. They say 2021 is kind of the implied, like.
I don't understand why they like just whiff on Justice League and it's like, all right, we didn't do well at that, but we're gonna do super good on all the characters nobody cares
Yeah,
about.
it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I don't know. It's DC's weird. I don't like to just hate on them and assume everything they make is bad, but it's just very unstructured the way their plan of attack. They don't
Yeah,
have a plan. They just attack.
yeah, that's my problem. Like, I'm not gonna like get excited about anything. If something good comes out, I'll see it. But
That's just goes to show like the whole Marvel versus DC. I like them both if they're good. I grew up on DC, so I love that stuff. But it's like Marvel has earned so much goodwill
yeah,
by making wonderful stuff and listening to people and
they announce things I've never heard of, and I'm already excited.
yeah, like yeah, exactly. Just because that's what good faith does, and DC hasn't earned that.
I'll say I'm excited for Joker because I've seen
The
the
trailers look
trailer
good,
and it
yeah,
looked good.
and I like Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah, I do like that.
And I like the director behind that. He's really great.
Yeah,
The
the
what's
Planet of the Apes guy.
yeah,
Matt
Reeves. Gosh, okay, sorry, we came to it at the same time. Reeves. I was just staring at you, begging that you'd help me while I was panicking with the name. So anyway, Shazam. I don't know if they'll ever put Black Adam in those movies, but they say they're gonna do a Black Adam movie. I think it's one of those things where they're like, we signed to make a movie with Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the next 5 years. We're running out of years. We got this contract.
Sounds like it.
That's probably what happened. To talk quickly about some Marvel stuff. This was just a fun little blip I saw. One of the writers for Endgame, Stephen McFeely, it seems like a good guy. They recently did like a Q&A kind of at like Comic-Con and everything. Recently he said that he would very much like to write a good Superman movie. As he put it.
I would like anyone to write a good Superman movie.
Because we haven't had a Superman movie in a while. I think Man of Steel is fine, but I mean, I want like...
compared to other DC, it is pretty fine.
But compared to, like, especially at the time, like, we just had the Dark Knight trilogy, it is a step down.
Yeah.
It is, but I think it had potential, but regardless, he says he'd like to make one because a lot of people... He says, I'm kind of paraphrasing him here, that, like, they try to do this new version of Superman. They try to make it maybe too dark than it should be, or they don't know how to do. They don't think you can be successful with the Boy Scout character. And he essentially said, I think Captain America proves you can still adapt an earnest hero like Superman, because his morals are like unshakable. Like sometimes he has to like do things that aren't legal. Superman's always had to do that, but like it's just the way you go about it. And like again, Captain America, even it took time for him to get there. You still have like a lot of Captain America, and even in Endgame, he's very much like the virtuous leader, and you can do that, right? Yeah. He's just basically saying, I think we need to stop trying to do all this weird stuff. We can still deconstruct if we build him right, you know? And I'm like, yeah.
Or just do All-Star Superman.
All-Star Superman.
With Tom Welling and...
See, I'd still like... I'd love to see Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling return for that. But I'd love if they... Like, imagine if, like, DC started with a Superman and built him up amazingly, and then we got, like, after 10 years, an All-Star Superman. Can you imagine what that would feel like instead of doing whatever the hell Batman vs. Superman, Death of Superman was? The most unsatisfying, didn't last, useless.
Yeah, I think with that Superman and like if they make Robert Pattinson's Batman good, they can like kind of soft reboot everything. Or just hard reboot. They're hard rebooting, right?
Yeah. Well, just have Gal Gadot keep... I like her as Wonder Woman.
So mid to hard reboot.
Yes, it's a semi-hard, if you will. It's like, you know that like kind of weird corn syrup starch mixture you can make where like if you slowly put your hands through it, it's liquid, but if you punch it, it's solid. That kind of a reboot. Like in some ways, it's a liquid. In some ways, it's rock solid. Yeah, just give us a new Superman. I just like that he says you can do a hopeful Superman and he'd like to do it, and I say give that man a chance at making a Superman script. Besides that, this is just a fun one for me because a movie I love is Baby Driver, and apparently the second one is happening. Ansel Elgort. Did I say it? Ansel? No. Yes, Ansel Elgort. Hansel Elgort has been given a script, and he seems to like it. I didn't know that was happening. I really like Baby Driver. But
does he get back in the game?
So So you like Baby Driver too, right? I don't think you liked it as much as me, but you still liked it.
I liked it.
So at first, I'm glad because I like anytime Edgar Wright's making a movie, it's usually something different and interesting. Um, I still definitely didn't feel like the story needed a follow up.
No, I
I feel
don't.
like it ended really well.
And I don't really want Edgar Wright to do a sequel.
Yeah, I like him doing spiritual sequels, like
Yeah.
like how something like Hot Fuzz is basically a sequel to Shaun of the Dead and everything but plot.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. It's weird. I feel like there's not more to do the story. I feel like the cast you had in the first one that you killed most of was perfect. You're probably not going to bring Kevin Spacey or anyone back for like flashbacks,
He's
and
not
even
coming back.
I mean, again, his character's dead probably because he got hit by a car, but it's like,
Yeah.
but still, like, there's so many that I feel like that movie's fine, doesn't need a sequel. It's weird he's making a second one.
Or what if Ansel's or Baby Driver becomes like a mentor to this other kid? He's trying to get him off the streets.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'll take it. I'm cautiously optimistic. Usually Edgar Wright makes cool stuff that's interesting to watch. So I'll watch.
If it's good, I'll see it.
Yeah, if it's good, I'll see it. Can that be our like tagline?
It's already mine.
I'm gonna open the next podcast with like, "Welcome to the NormalCast," where if it's good, we'll see it.
That just becomes the name of the show.
We're pretty normal about it. Did you hear about the runtime they announced for It Chapter 2, a movie we have both been excited about?
Yes, it's like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, like 2:45. So that's going to be a 3-hour sitting in the theater.
If they don't have the turtle in those 2:45, I don't know what they're putting the time towards.
Oh my gosh, that's a long movie, and because I like the first one, I'm okay with it.
That's like the longest horror movie, probably.
I'm hoping that means, though, like they are getting really into it.
Yeah, get weird.
Because I also like with this movie, Stephen King has been very vocal as like, because apparently he's seen it, and he's like,
You seen the second one?
Apparently he tweeted, "Yo, It Chapter 2, the final," not yo, but that's me. He said, "It Chapter 2, the quote is, final confrontation is epic." Like he said it goes, and from what I remember, I've seen bits and pieces of the old like a TV movie one. They end in confrontation with the spider Pennywise is anything but epic. They just kind of tip him over and poke it like a glowy spot.
The second part's not good.
Yeah, but he seemed to really like it. He also apparently like after he liked the first one so much, he contacted the writers, directors, and like he read the script, helped give them notes, and even he like said he had a scene he made up new for the movie, which I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Like I like that he's. Because the first It's movie isn't like a direct like word for word adaptation. There's a lot they change, even like because the monsters are completely different that like Pennywise becomes.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this will do a similar thing where it's the right. It uses what it should and makes it a movie where it shouldn't.
Because like it's not a perfect book for
No,
sure.
but
so you take the good stuff and leave the bad stuff.
I'm impressed that Stephen King is like. He's so behind it being not like the book in the right ways.
He was on cocaine.
He was on a lot of drugs. There's a child gangbang.
Yeah.
Like, there's weird stuff in that book. I like that he like told him like a new scene to add and like everything. Like everyone seems just to be really proud of this movie, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Besides that, yeah, I don't really have anything else.
Sounds
to
like
say.
it's good, so I'll see it.
Yeah, sounds like it's a good 2 hours and 45 minutes. That reminded me, I just saw an article on like, what was it, Cinema Blend, of someone saying, well, you've said to me before, they should bring back the intermissions because there's so many long movies these days.
Yeah.
Because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was very long as well. Like, some people might not have been able to hold it for that long. And
I think if it's under 3 hours, you don't need an intermission. But
you don't need it, but if you want to.
Yeah, if you want it. But like, seems like we're going back into the era of long movies.
Yeah.
So I think some are going to start pushing 3 hours.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, when it's like more kind of action based, maybe that doesn't settle very well. But if we're doing like a 3-hour drama, give me an intermission. I need to breathe.
I think when it's like Tarantino had a screening of The Hateful Eight where he put an intermission.
Right, I heard about that. See, that sounds like it would make sense. Yeah. I heard that's very play-like. Anyway, last thing of news. Ryan Reynolds celebrated by tweeting out an image for the 5-year anniversary of the Deadpool footage leak. I'm celebrating 5 years since then. It's a really silly kind of like Deadpool. I'm gonna show Adam. Recommend everyone to look it up. Of like Deadpool trying to figure out who leaked it. Still, everyone from like Hugh Jackman to his wife Blake Lively to Betty White over in the corner. It's really fun. But strangely, it says 5 years ago. He's like We're 5 years in, or as I like to call it, Phase 5. The point is, I love conspiracy yarn, and a lot of people, because again, Disney owns Fox now, and Disney talked about like we'd like to keep making Deadpool movies at some point. Is he saying Phase 5 is when Deadpool's gonna do something? Like I don't know if it's X Force or literally a Deadpool movie, but a lot of people are connecting string, if you will, like his tweet.
That is worth
right?
hypothesizing about.
Because but he quoted the word Phase 5, and everyone knows that's a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that is. Because you don't just say, like, man, it's been 5 years, or as I call it, Phase 5. Like, each year's... No, that seems like a reference to me. Like, there's a lot of things that I think people connect too many dots with when people make tweets like this, but I think that is pretty substantial. Also, it's worth noting one of the strings. Dude, what?
What if Deadpool was in Doctor Strange 2, just for like a little bit?
I'd love it. I'd literally love it so much. Yeah. I'd explode in the theater. A lot of people also point out Taika Waititi is on here for some reason with a string connected to him.
Because he's in Thor. He's in the next Thor. I know it.
And then wait, so because he's
Deadpool's in Thor 4.
Oh my gosh, Deadpool just shows up in that. Yeah, I thought it was because there's a lot of people that like there's like Tim Miller and other writers for like Deadpool, but then like Taika Waititi's, maybe it's just because they're friends, maybe it is like saying there's something to that. Ryan Reynolds is good at this. He's the right kind of like, or I'm sure there's people he pays to help him with this, yeah. But they have it right when they do like his kind of teases and stuff. Because that's great. I love everything it could imply. I definitely think Betty White leaked it based on this graph. And that's all of the news we have. But more importantly than that, we've seen a movie and some media. So we've seen some movies, but not all of it's movies.
Multimedia.
We're going to start Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Adam, what are your raw thoughts now that it's been over a week since we've seen it? Because we didn't record this earlier in the week like we usually do.
I like it quite a bit. Not my favorite Tarantino, but there are definitely very memorable things in it that I keep thinking about, and that's a sign of a good movie.
Absolutely. I just wrote down like great parts. Like it didn't all the parts didn't come together into a whole that I found as satisfying as say the way Pulp Fiction comes together kind of in a whole, but the performances especially were so good and there were so many memorable scenes. I thought it was a great movie. Great movie, just good time at the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of much else to say. It's like I can't think of anything bad to say other than it doesn't like have a through line really.
Yeah.
But like every individual part's so enjoyable, it doesn't matter that much.
I agree completely. Like all these, there's so many just like long flashbacks that just inform you and don't amount to like a ton plot wise, but like I love to watch, so I can't complain about it. That movie, I think it made like its opening weekend like $40-something million, which is apparently the biggest Tarantino opening he's ever had, which is small just because, I don't know, I hear about him so much, it surprises me that more people aren't like super into him. And
I think he's just recently becoming not a cult.
I guess that's how it is. I just always grew up hearing about him, but because it cost him like $90 million to make that movie, so it'll probably make it back because he's usually due, because again, they're still kind of a cult status is his thing. But yeah, I don't know. Good for them. I really liked it. Do not have more to say. What we do hopefully have more to say is we both watched the first season of Legion. That's FX, am I right? Their X-Men FX. Legion show. Give me just one word. How would you describe that show?
Bonkers.
I was going to say zany. I'm glad we went different routes. Zany and bonkers, you hit here. So, next thing that I watched, Legion, we're not just going to end it there. I was so impressed by how weird it gets. This ties into me saying how I'm just in a weird liking state of like movies and shows. It gets like, it has no fear about what it will try. Like it went, for some episodes it goes full like horror. And on a TV show, I haven't
several
seen
episodes.
Like, yeah, it's delving into this mutant's mind that's very jumbled, and you learn there's something else kind of in his mind. I really loved it. I googled and learned more about that character that is in his mind. Interesting stuff. Don't want to say the name. Aubrey Plaza gets to do so much.
Yeah.
Like, because she's gone for like 2 episodes. There's like a period
She
where
dies in the first episode.
Spoilers! But yeah, you think like, oh, I guess they just got her for half an episode, and then like she comes back in a big way, and like they do everything from like her, because it's inside of a person's mind. It gets insane. She's like parade like dancing through his memories at one point, and like this it's feeling good like playing, like the birds flying high. He's like dancing in like almost a stripper outfit. It's weird, and that's just like one facet of how weird this show is. The show goes so many places, and I love everything they're doing with it. I love just that FX is the home of shows that want to try things in a lot of ways.
FX probably has the best shows.
I'm noticing, like, I was never huge on FX, like, growing up, but I'm noticing, like, because they allow so much freedom for a lot of it, like, they were kind of what a lot of, like, the streaming services are making their names off of, because they allow that kind of grittier or crazier ideas.
Yeah.
But they've been doing this for a while. That show has, like, 3 seasons. I didn't even know.
What, Legion?
Yeah, Legion's got 3 seasons. I didn't realize. So I've got some more watching to do, but anyone who wants to just watch something weird, or even likes like kind of the ideas that often like the mutants and X-Men movies play with, like it does cool stuff with that. I like that it's really set in a mutant world without being like, hey, you know the X-Men? They were in New York yesterday. Like it's everyone's like, yeah, he's another mutant. Like, it's just mutants are normal. Like, that's how it's working, and the government's trying to handle it, and we don't need to talk about it a ton. But the way it ties things in, though, like when you do find out more about what's going on in this guy's head and how it relates to his father and someone he fought and all this, like it fits in perfectly with like comic stuff that I've like read and looked up, but it doesn't slam it in your face, and I love it so far. Any other finishing thoughts on that? I feel like I rambled for too long.
I think my favorite part was the rational David.
Oh, the whole
the British.
There's just a scene where there's another version of him in his head that's helping him rationalize what's going on. It's British for like not much of a reason, and he's like, "Why are you British?" He's like, "I'm your rational thought." And it's like, okay, sure. And they go through the chalkboard of like trying to, and then it turns into like chalk animation. Really cool stuff.
More than anything, I hope he comes back for season 2.
You want more of that? I mean, you can bring back a million personalities in that show. The guy in the ice cube, like that's just trapped.
He's so fun.
He's trapped in the astral plane. I feel like I know that actor from somewhere, but
he does a lot of stuff with Taika Waititi.
Okay, oh yeah. Oh my god, he was What We Do in the Shadows. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. Yes, okay, he's hilarious. And he's a guy you meet trapped in an ice cube on the astral plane. Get to find out more about him. Like his mind is just stuck. Great stuff. Last thing, I just want to talk about a show I watched recently. I watched all 8 episodes of Amazon's The Boys.
I hear that's good.
It's very good. It is dark and disgusting at times. Like it doesn't like censor much at all. I mean, you know, they said you can't do that kind of censoring. Like, apparently there's like one scene, if anything, but I feel like they've done darker stuff than the scene I read about. But it gets like between like sex and like terrible things, the gore, it gets like disgusting at times. But it's really well done. I'll just say, it's a shame. It's just kind of half a season, really. Like, it doesn't resolve a lot.
Are they doing season 2?
Yeah, it's already renewed, but that's still gonna be for like a year, which really kills me that that's kind of a weird thing I have with the streaming currently, is that the way like sequel seasons work, when you make it where it's like an 8 episode, and they made it clearly where it's like, this is half a season is what it feels like. It was great, but now I have to wait so long for anything to be resolved.
Yeah.
But that's my one complaint, but I have so much to praise about it. There's amazing characters and performances. I'll throw up, like, there's so many amazing cast members, but just a couple highlights are obviously going to be Carl Urban for Butcher, because he just hates superheroes with a passion, and he's the most like PC, like no sympathy whatsoever. He's just that kind of like a-hole you can't help but root for.
That's good.
Like oh my gosh, he has no filter. The things he says in the show are amazing. And the dude Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, the Superman, the leader of the Seven, which is their Justice League kind of group, he is fantastic. Like he is so messed up, the character. Like it's like layers of like how he controls others, but then how he is like controlled. Like it's he is the most messed up like psychologically, and he plays him beautifully. It's amazing. And then in the end, the thing I loved the most was the world it made, and I mean it honestly, the politics of it.
That's always the thing that's interesting in like superhero movies that they don't really touch on.
Because this is just the premise. I'm not going on any spoilers. It's the politics one within the Seven, like how they kind of aren't like a perfect team. They're kind of trying to get a shoulder up on each other, or there's intimidation from Homelander, and then superheroes are privatized. Like companies own superheroes.
That's cool.
And so there's the big one. VOTS owns like all of them. They basically have a monopoly on superheroes. They sell them to a city to be that city's superhero. Like you always have in the comics, like Metropolises or Dakota Cities. It's like they're trying to sell like Detroit, like this is the superhero you want. Like there's a quick pitch meeting of like it's because he's black and it's like he fits your demographic and he fits your demographic, but also like white people like him too. 59% approval from white people from ages 18 to 45. Like it's so political. It's like perfect. It's a lot of that stuff and just the world that creates, and it's these people that are trying to uncover all of the like grime and conspiracy that there's hopefully to tear down this stuff that's happened, because a lot of these people have been hurt by superheroes, and it's awesome. So I just wanted to highlight that for my little soapbox today.
I might watch that.
Yeah. Did you watch anything to add to the last of our closing thoughts here? Anything you've seen? No,
I've had to really bang out Legion.
You've been binging Legion. Okay, I binged that like over a week ago, so Adam had to catch up so we'd be in the same spot. Anyway, those are some things that we watched recently and loved. And that's our podcast. We'll just end it there. We're so glad that you specifically, yes, you, no, not you. Yeah, you specifically have been listening to this podcast, and we will record another next week and hope to see everyone, many one of you there. Closing thoughts, Adam?
Thanks.
If it's good, we'll see it. Bye.